Hello everyone, it is Sunday, November 21st, and this is episode 39 of Odds Are, your S&P 500 weekly market forecast. All right, so let's take a look at last week where, if you remember, we made a claim that the market had a very, very high probability, 99% almost, of breaching one of the breach points, and that was because in the week prior, we did not breach one of the breach points. So, did the market breach? Let's pull up the chart. And yes, we did. So we breached the upper breach point of 47.17. It did take us all the way until Friday to do it, right? So, most of the week I was like, oh, are we going to have one of the even rarer occasions where we have 2 weeks back to back? Which, by the way, if you have 2 weeks back to back with no breach points, in the last 21 years, there's never been a situation where we've gone 3 weeks. So, I mean, the odds are technically, based on the historical analysis, 100%, but we know that that's not really possible. So that's like 99.9% that we would have had a breach anyway for the following week. But we did have a breach this week. We breached the 47.17 level, like I said. We did stay within the expected settlement range of 45.53 to 47.63. And we stayed above the red midline of the Bollinger Band, still staying in that envelope, above the midline and below the upper edge, the blue line there. All right, nowhere near also the 42.76 parabolic SAR, didn't come even close, and we didn't come close to the 46.35 breach point either. All right, let's take a look at the moving averages. Still bullish. I mean, not really surprising there. Not enough downward momentum to change anything this week. All right, let's put it all to see what we're expecting for next week. All right, so for next week, we are expecting a settlement range between 45.67 and 47.78. Not too dissimilar from where we were last week and the week before that. Again, not a lot of changes. Market did kind of go up a bit, but not big movements in the grand scheme of things. So the ranges are staying pretty much the same. Now, the breach points you'll see here did kind of shrink even more this week. So we're expecting breach points at 46.68 on the lower end and 47.24 on the top side, with odds of 81.27, again resetting back from that high probability last week, so we're back to our more normal 81% odds of a breach, and with a 79.17% odds of staying within that expected settlement range. The parabolic SAR did go up to 42.91, still well outside the range of any expected close, so we're not looking to see any chance of getting close to that number in this week to come. Now let's put this all together into the relative view. All right, here we go. You can see we're still in that nice like envelope above the midline and below the upper edge of the Bollinger Band. And we are now looking at that nice, real tight range for the breach points. So very high probability that we're going to breach one of those two, especially how close it is now. The market tends to, when it does consolidate like that, when it kind of coils up, it eventually breaks out. So that's what we're expecting next. Notice that the upper settlement limit is above the Bollinger Band range, and the lower settlement limit is just inside of the Bollinger Band range. And way down there in no man's land, we have 42.91 parabolic SAR. All right. Also, just a quick note here for you guys. If you're trading futures, please, please, please remember that we're going to be on holiday schedule for the Thanksgiving holiday. So on Wednesday, the market will open up as normal, Wednesday evening, 6 p.m. Eastern time. And then it's going to close on Thanksgiving Day. Trading will halt, right? It'll halt at 1 p.m. Eastern time. So Thanksgiving Day, trading for futures will be going on in the morning for S&P 500 equity futures. And it will halt at 1 p.m. It'll resume, right, at the normal time, 6 p.m. Eastern, and then it'll trade into Friday, and again, this time it'll halt, or close at 1:15 p.m. So go onto the CME's website, check it out, but just be aware that your trading calendar and your schedule is not the same, so don't get trapped in a position you don't want to be. All right, let's take a look now, if you didn't see that one coming. All right, so last week, same thing. You know, as we've said before, we had a very high probability trade on our hands. We said there was a 99% chance of a breach of one of those two breach points. You know, in this particular case, I don't think that many people would have been able to take advantage of it. I mean, it did take forever to finally breach. It breached on Friday. And so if you were trading any options or buying a call, most of the time value had been sucked out of those options already as we approached the expiration. But still, you know, you can't say you don't see these things coming, especially if you're fortunate enough to catch one of the episodes where it's telling you, hey, there's a 99% chance that this is going to happen. You know, yes, of course, there's always going to be the 1%, but if that happens, I mean, you know, we that's the whole point, right? Is playing the odds. The whole point is to know that there's a high probability of something happening and being able to take advantage of that more often than not. So hopefully you guys are able to do that. And that brings us now to the quote of the week, which is by Mr. John Maynard Keynes. He's a well-known economist. Some people agree with him, some people disagree, but that's kind of the nature of the job. Well, Mr. Keynes says, the market can stay irrational longer than you can stay solvent. And isn't that the truth, right? So anybody who's traded, you know, live money knows that when the real dollars are on the line, all of a sudden the market decides to, you know, go bipolar on you. The market just completely switches what you think it's going to do. It does things that it didn't do before. It doesn't follow the same patterns that you expected. It doesn't behave, right, according to what you expect it to do. And honestly, I've experienced this. It gets to the point where you almost start to wonder, is the market conspiring against you? Is there some, like, you know, nefarious conspiracy where the brokerages look at what your individual position is and feed you fake information to make you think that the market's going one way and then just switch it up on you? It's crazy. I mean, you really have to stop and say, okay, this is a lesson to be learned, and you can't get off into paranoia land thinking that, you know, there's the evil traders out there out, you know, out to get you and the market's all rigged. You know, on a grand scale, yes, of course there are people that influence the market, but overall nobody's caring about like your individual trade. So, you know, you can't look at it as a you thing. You have to remember this market has a lot of people, a lot of smart people involved in these trades and kind of moving the direction one way or another. And so what is rational and what is irrational is honestly irrelevant, right? Because what you consider to be rational doesn't have any bearing at all on what the market's actually going to do. And so if you're looking at it from that perspective, saying, oh, the market's irrational, I'm going to wait this out until it becomes rational again, you're probably going to run out of money before the market becomes rational, at least in your view. So rather than waiting for it to become rational, try to find strategies that can actually withstand very irrational markets. And that's why, you know, you want to run Monte Carlo scenarios, and you want to try different start points, and you want to try your systems on different markets, starting at, you know, from different time periods. There's a whole bunch that goes into it. But basically the idea is if you have a system that is, you know, 85% accurate, right, or has a win rate 85%, then just assume that it's not going to be that good. When you start live trading, you have to go into it thinking that that's the best case scenario, and that's not what it's always going to be like. So keep that in mind. I hope you guys have a very rational week, right? I hope you guys have great plans and you have laid everything out to spend time and carve out time with your family, pun intended, for Thanksgiving. Hope you guys have a wonderful week, and I will see you guys back here next Sunday.